Hello everyone. Possibly last of the December stories introduces a new Polyship to the channel. The one you voted for quite a while back. And it's KyouHabaKinKuni. Very interesting dynamic. And I'm very excited to delve more into their story because of course I have some stuff prepared for them, let's say. But I'm super curious how their dynamic is going to unfold because they are all very unique, let's say. But I'm still super happy about this. So let's get into it. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who subscribe and watch these videos, especially lately. And especially to those of you who comment on videos. You are keeping this channel alive and going, and you are making my day much better. So thank you very much for that, and I hope you will enjoy. The atmosphere was even more electrifying than Yahaba recalled from the whole time he had been going to see the matches. Despite this being a Division 2 match, the bleachers were full save a few spots, which were bound to be filled anyway by the few lucky people with tickets for standing who managed to snatch it. Not that Yahaba cared about that too much. He, as always, had the best seat he could wish for, with a clear view of the whole court and players, but on the edge of the line so he didn't have to push against anyone. Though, speaking of free seats, one was still very much empty next to him. He glanced around, but before he could start to think about it too much, the crowd raised in cheers as the teams entered the court. Yahaba's attention was immediately drawn elsewhere, specifically to the full blonde head with cut stripes that just appeared in his vision. Grinning, he waved at Kyotani, earning an eye roll and a wave back which in turn made him chuckle. Then his eyes left Kyotani, searching for... "Move, you are in the way." Raising his eyebrow, Yahaba looked up but stayed seated as he was. My, is this a way to talk to people? So rude. The man scoffed, carefully balancing the little paper tray with snacks in his hand to prevent them from falling on the floor. "I'm just treating you the way you deserve for chasing me all the way to the stall. Do you know how long the queue was?" "Oh, was it now? I don't know who wanted salted caramel, Akira." Kunimi grumbled under his breath, but there wasn't really anything he could say in defense. Smiling, Yahaba decided not to torture him further and took the tray from him while moving his legs to let him through to his seat. "You could also let me have the edge seat." "Shush, I'll let you have it the next time." Before Kunimi could answer, Yahaba silenced him with a piece of the caramel candy and motioned to the court where the visiting team was just lining up. Their hands raised simultaneously to wave at the tall middle blocker with spiky hair, who, unlike Kyotani, returned the wave rather enthusiastically. They then leaned back and watched as the announcer called out the starting sixes of the teams, officially starting another faithful duel between frogs and elephants. Unsurprisingly, both Kyotani and Kindaichi were called on the court, glaring at each other through the net with slightly wicked smiles on their lips. The sight made Yahaba roll his eyes, but he would lie if he said he wasn't having fun watching his otherwise lovely boyfriends turning feral the moment they stood against each other in a match. Boyfriends. He still couldn't believe he was now using the plural form of the word, even after almost a year of dating, and despite the fact he was the one who initiated the then experiment. Well, he and Kyotani after a long talk. "Want to bet on the winner today?" "Yeah, why not?" I'm betting on elephants. That rookie they have is really good, I've heard, and they have a winning streak. Heh, just wait until Kentaro gets to the ball. I'm calling frogs this time. Okay, whoever loses gets to wash the dishes for the next week. Deal. Yahaba grinned, intentionally holding Kunime's hand a bit longer than was necessary for the bed-sealing handshake. It never stopped to amaze him how soft Kunime's hands were, though his skin was usually a bit cold for Yahaba's liking. Kunime noticed the prolonged gesture immediately and grimaced, but didn't try to get away at all, which by itself was a small miracle. He then stuffed his mouth with the candy, much to Yahaba's amusement, and motioned to the court where the referee was just about to blow the first whistle. I hope you are ready to do the dishes. I can't believe you let a rookie and you beat you that bad. Yahaba barely managed to stifle a laugh upon seeing Kyotane's disgruntled expression. He was ecstatic, of course, and happy for Kindaichi and his deserved victory, and while he did pity Kyotane a bit, seeing him all flustered was a nice treat. How's that my fault? If that dumbass Kogane blocked properly, we could have beaten them in straight sets. You wish. Just admit they were better. Right, you? Kindaichi stuttered, his eyes straying uncertainly to Kyotane as if he expected the spiker to jump at his neck in a second. I suppose. But it was a team effort. We just had a better day. Kyotane huffed, obviously pouting, and Yahaba couldn't hold back the laughter anymore. He gently ruffled his hair, happy to see Kyotane's expression softening a bit. It's okay. I'm sure you'll win next time. The elephant was just too big for you this time. He decided to omit the note that said elephant also won him a week without having to do dishes, not wanting to make Kunimi even more grumpy, and instead reached for Kyotane's hand. What do you say we go get something to eat along the way? You both need to replenish energy. That worked like a charm. All three paired up at the mention of food, reminding Yahaba of dogs. And also of the fact his wallet was going to cry since it was his idea. But that was fine. As long as he could see his boyfriends happy, he would sacrifice anything. He led the way to one of their favorite places in the city, glad when the talk started to flow again, dissipating the slight tension accompanying every walk home after the two played against each other. He hid a snicker behind his hand when Kunimi refused to sit next to Kindaichi like he usually did, instead settling next to Kyotane while sticking his tongue out, and took the free seat, gently nudging Kindaichi's side. Don't take it too personally. He's just salty he lost his own bet. You did great today. Especially that second ace. That curve was beautiful. That, together with Kunimi's offended tusk, was enough to lure a smile on Kindaichi's lips, and Yahaba melted when a soft kiss landed on his temple. Kunimi, apparently taking it as a challenge, covered Kyotane's hand with his and leaned more into his side. Shigeru's right. You did well too, even though you lost. After a second of surprise, Kyotane smiled and wrapped his arm around Kunimi's waist, chasing red into his cheeks. Yahaba couldn't help but smile too. They were a curious group indeed. Just recently, he was almost sure they wouldn't be able to last for long with their vastly different personalities and whatnot. However, fate had a thing for surprising him, and only about a month from now, they were about to celebrate their first year of being in love. Sure, they had their clashes sometimes, and not everyone was on the same page at all times, but they made it work. They always made it work. Shige. He blinked, torn from his thoughts by the deep voice opposite him. What are you getting? Oh, sorry, I don't know. What are you all having? Kalage. Tonkatsu. Ramen. Also filling, though they'll run it out in no time. You, however. He froze. Why was that his first thought again? Shigeru? Huh? Sorry, I had to space out. On a second thought, I'm not really hungry right now. But you go ahead, it's my treat. A pair of amber eyes narrowed at him, yet there was more concern than anger in Kyotani's gaze. It still made Yahaba flinch though. What? You were pretty hungry just 10 minutes ago. So, I lost my appetite. That happens sometimes, no? He avoided looking at Kindaichi or Kunime, knowing well they were watching him with confusion. Unfortunately, there was no hiding from Kyotani's gaze and the burning fire in his eyes. He jumped a bit when Kyotani closed the menu with a louder than necessary clap and pointed an almost accusatory finger at him. Though in his case, more ordering than anything. You are getting at least onigiri. But... No discussions. I'm not going to listen to your complaining when we get home. There was much more to it than that, Yaba knew. He no less than deflated under Kyotani's glare. Okay. A calloused hand covered his. He looked up and his heart skipped a beat when Kyotani's eyes softened. Come on, it's a celebratory and soothing dinner for all of us. You can't be the only one left out. Right, especially since you are paying. Was that necessary, Aki? Yes, it was. If I'm doing his dishes the whole week, he can pay for my dinner. You shouldn't have bet it against me. Who was supposed to know? As the two started to squabble, Yaba found himself relaxing again. He bit his lip and returned the light squeeze to his hand, giving Kyotani a small, grateful smile. For both his care and for not disturbing Kunime and Kindaichi with unnecessary details. The tension fell from his shoulders when he took the first hesitant bite of the onigiri, and before he knew it, he managed to finish a whole plate under the watchful yet so caring gaze of his beloved. Right. Things were okay now. There was no need to worry anymore when he had his boyfriends by his side. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. So, as you could see at the end there, you can technically guess where I'm going with this, or who's going to be the stray cat in this Polyship. But yeah, I think that was obvious. To those of you who are here for longer, it had to be obvious even before it all started. So yes, he is going to be the stray cat. And yes, that's going to be his issue, or main issue. Otherwise, the personalities and problems, phobias and all that are kept here from the monoship storyline. So Yahaba with abandonment issues and Kunime with the tachophobia and all that stuff. So that's all going to stay here because it's interesting, why not use it? Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be the last thing I do for December, because I have the Mea Twins angst prepared, I have the script. However, the first part is over 15,000 characters, which usually takes like half an hour at least to voice, which I'm not sure if I will be able to do, especially like changing 4 voices. If not, it's going to come out in January. I will try, but as you can probably hear from my voice, I am still very sick. I will see. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.